Welcome to Englishmen in Ukraine. Sunny weather at the moment, the snow's gone, the car's all shining in the background. So after my last video, excuse the ducks, after the last video of the L322 buyer's guide, I thought it would be a good idea to go into what it's actually cost me to run this car for the last 24 months. So let's dive in. For those who are new to the channel, if you haven't already subscribed, you enjoy the content, please subscribe now. Apparently 93% or 92% of you haven't subscribed already, and it helps the channel and we can do more wonderful videos like this. So this is my car, these are my receipts. Let's dive in for the real cost of ownership on a 4.4 TD V8 Range Rover. Stick around to the end to find out if it really is an affordable option. Cost of car itself. So I originally bought this car with problems for £8,950, and at the time it actually had 162,500 miles on the clock. You might think that's madness, but I knew these engines could actually go way further than that, and that's turning out to be true. I think the first thing I actually purchased after that was a Bluetooth adapter, just so I could stream music through this, which I have shown in one of my other videos, which I'll put at the end and in the description. Starting from there onwards, obviously I had a suspension fault from a previous L320 that I actually already had the IIDTool. So all I did, had to change it over, obviously register it for this car. So that was kind of a bonus for me straight away. And as I'd mentioned previously, this had a suspension fault, and it just turned out all I had to do was go through the suspension settings and set it all up correctly. And the suspension fault, where occasionally if it hit a bump it would all drop down really low and come up with suspension error, yeah, that was fixed from there onwards. Second problem I had, again, this was a known problem when I actually bought it, which was quite funny. When it was raining on the way back home, my washer pump wasn't working, so I actually changed over both washer pumps. They cost me off of eBay, I think £6.19 each, and I had to get a little O-ring as well to reconnect it back up to. And then I did actually change over the nozzles on the front, and believe it or not, I bought those from China, and I think they were about £4.12. Going on from that was the oil cooler. So I did the work myself. Actually cost me £120 online, and it probably took me, I'm guessing, 5-6 hours. So when I was doing the oil cooler, some of the torque bolts actually on the front of it, which were clips on for the front main engine cover, they had snapped off, and the bolts underneath. So I actually went to Range Rover and I had to order and to buy some new ones of those. Two of the things they had in stock, and the bill come to £29.95. And it's the first time I've ever done it. There is some specialist tools I had to get for it. Obviously that was an additional costs. At the same time, I actually bought a service kit that included the cabin filter, included the 2 air filters and 10 litres of oil, and obviously the oil filter as well. And I actually got that off eBay again, and it was from a specialist Land Rover garage, and I paid £144.99 for that. The side skirts, as I mentioned in a previous video, I don't like the side skirts. They just tend to cause a lot of rust, so I wanted to remove them. But I wanted the original. This car was provided with the exterior design pack, which I think is beautiful, and they're quite hard to come by. You can get fake ones or not original ones, but lo and behold, I was searching on eBay one day, and they've been listed, I think it was around about an hour prior to me looking at it. And there was a very posh motor company actually. I actually bought both side skirts with the inserts that clip in, and yeah, at £10 they were an absolute bargain. I couldn't believe my luck, and lo and behold, they were actually in the right colour as well, Santorini black. The front and rear mudguards, I again bought those off of eBay. They were £29.99, and it just cost me from Halfords, I think £5.60 for some self-tapping screws to fit them. So I changed over the antifreeze as well on there, so I had to top that up. That came in at £16.99. So the tailgate was a funny one. I wasn't happy. We had rust going in there and I wanted to change it over. And again, eBay, fantastic. I searched on there and I found one from a 2007 car that someone was dismantling. So I drove up there, picked that up. Believe it or not, I actually got that for £50, which was an absolute bargain. And the paintwork for that, stripped it down. The paintwork for that cost me £250. Labour, I actually did all the work myself. I took off the old tailgate and refitted it myself, and it cost me £15 for some new Range Rover black lettering for that. So I actually changed the tailgate light as well, the one on the top of the tailgate, into a completely blacked out one, and obviously the red shines through when you brake on there. Again, I bought that online. I think that was from actually AliExpress or something. It took about a week to get to me, and that was £18. So the side grills, they cost me £35 in gloss black, and I also wanted to change the side repeaters with LED. Those cost me £12. I think both of those were off of eBay. So by this time I was due another oil change, so I did the complete oil change, all the filters, and I also changed the transfer box, front and rear, and the diff oils, which came in at £337. So I haven't been out here for quite a while. Cars take a bit of a bashing with regards to the suspension components, and I didn't know how long this car had the original suspension, so I took it into a local garage. I didn't do this one myself. I haven't got the capabilities here to be able to lift the car up, which would be nice if I have in the future. So yeah, I took it into a local garage, and this was the big bill. Looking at all these bits here and suspension, so this is a massive long list I had of all the work that was done in Ukraine. So they went through every suspension component. I also had some front arms as well, original front arms, and some bushes. So basically we ended up changing the front complete arms, both left and right, changed the ball joints or lower ball joints on there, and the rear of the car we basically changed every single bush in the rear of car. The upper, lowers, everything was changed on there, which is why there's a pretty comprehensive list here. So the bill for that came in at £1,600. That also did include stripping the engine down and changing all of the injector copper seals. Again, all original parts. So yeah, that was a massive job, and actually, to be fair, made a huge difference on the car. During the colder weather, I started to get a squeal from one of the pulleys on the front, so I got a garage to look into that. Again, it was cold outside. I didn't have time to do it on my front drive, although I wish I had. And that was, I ended up getting them to replace all of the pulleys and also the attentioner, and again, all original parts, or all original Range Rover, which, as you all know, it's quite expensive. So yeah, that was £869. I've actually gone through 2 batteries on this car. Whether it's to do with the weather or not, I'm not sure, but yeah. So 2 lots of batteries, that was in the region of around, I think looking at the costs, that came in at about £320. So when I was over in England, I decided to have the EGR software deleted. And I knew originally I was going to have the DPF. I didn't have time to have it done in England, but I did get that done in Ukraine. And it turned out to be a lot cheaper. I wish I had both of them done in Ukraine, actually. So together with the tune, which was a stage 1 tune, and also the blanking of all software delete for the EGR, and the cost for the DPF removal, that turned out £410. So all in all, this car's had a fair bit of work done to it. So I've certainly had 2 batteries fitted on it. Looking back at the past history, it's had mine and myself, so it's had 2 gearbox mega flushes. It's had numerous amounts of oil changes, which is a good thing. And it's had lots of service history. I have got a lot of service history in that as well. Most of it, or all of it, is Land Rover specific and all stamped up, which is fantastic. So again, when you're looking for one of these cars, just ensure, again, look at the service history for it. Make sure it's stamped up and it's not just written down in biro, or if they have done it themselves, yeah, just make sure they've done it down there and they've got receipts to back it up with regards to the oil that they've bought and maybe the filters and stuff like that. Because you do get people, genuine people like myself, want to do a lot of the work. And to be fair, it saves a huge sum of money, and sometimes actually you get to do a better job, I think. So thanks for joining me on this video. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching these videos. I really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoy the content. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It pushes the channel and we can do more stuff like this. So thank you very much. Leave any comments down below and see you in the next video.